Today we're discussing the top 5 ways to make some money early game in Medieval Dynasty. Now we've got a lot of info to cover and no time to waste, so let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, building a dynasty takes resources. And one of those resources that you will definitely need is money. However, starting out, you have very little at your disposal. So today, we're going to discuss the top 5 ways to make money fast in the early game of Medieval Dynasty. But before jumping into this list, it's important to point out that the following methods won't make you rich. And that's okay, because the purpose of the early game is not to make a whole lot of money. Early game, you want to focus on setting up your village for better money-making opportunities in the future. To be honest, you don't need a lot of money in the early stages of Medieval Dynasty. So the items on this list will quickly provide you all the coin you're going to need in order to advance to the later stages. So with that being said, let's get to it. The first item on our list is the stone knife. This item can be handcrafted and only requires 5 sticks and 2 stones to craft. This item has a relatively low carry weight of only half a kilogram, and it sells for a decent amount at vendors. These are great items to craft at the very start of the game. As you're making your way to town, gather up as many sticks and stones as you can, craft up a whole bunch of stone knives, and sell those to the vendor for some great starting cash. However, I would only recommend doing this at the very beginning of the game. Once you have your village established and you have a few villagers gathering resources for you, you're much better off crafting the stone knives as necessary tools for your villager. However, at the very start of the game, the stone knives can be a great way to bring in some extra coin. The next item on our list is feathers. While you're building out your village, you're going to be chopping down a ton of trees. After you initially fell the tree, it takes 2 more chops to finish up the harvest. The first one is to remove branches, and the second one turns the tree into logs. The initial chop after felling the tree will provide you with sticks, but more importantly, it also provides you with feathers. Feathers are extremely lightweight and can be sold for a good amount of coin. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, in the beginning, you're going to be chopping down a whole bunch of trees. That means you're going to be gathering a whole bunch of feathers. Stash some of those feathers in your storage chests in order to make arrows later and sell off all the extras. Once you have the hunting lodge up and running, you can have your hunter gather feathers as well. However, I prefer to have them gather leather for the next item on our list. And that item is the simple bag. This is another item that can be handcrafted, and it costs you 3 leather per bag. The simple bag is another very lightweight item that sells for a good amount of coin. Once you have the hunting lodge up and running, and you assign a villager as your hunter, adjust the task percentages to bring in just enough food to keep your village fed, yourself included, and have your hunter spend the rest of their time gathering leather. When you're gearing up for a vendor run, craft the leather gathered into simple bags. While simple bags do require the extra step of crafting, it is well worth it. These items sell for a lot more, plus you also gain crafting experience at the same time. In the early game of Medieval Dynasty, simple bags are an excellent money maker. The next item on our list is the wooden spoon. This item is incredibly lightweight and extremely cheap to craft, only requiring a single stick to craft a single spoon. This item does require the wood shop in order to craft, and you do have to unlock the crafting recipe by spending 50 coin. However, you will make that money back in no time. Sticks are one of the easiest items to gather in Medieval Dynasty, and you will likely have plenty left over that can be crafted into spoons. And since they are so lightweight, you can carry a ton of them to the vendor in one go and sell them for some pretty good coin. You can also assign a villager to your wood shop to craft them for you. The wooden spoon is an excellent item to craft in order to gain money in the early stages of Medieval Dynasty. The next item on our list is the wooden vial. This item is very similar to the previous wooden spoon in that it is a extremely lightweight and sells for a good chunk of change. This item is crafted at the wood shop, and it also costs 50 coin in order to unlock the crafting recipe. The only downside of the wooden vial is that it does take a multi-step process in order to craft. The crafting recipe requires planks. One plank will produce 10 vials, which means that you have to turn logs into planks and then planks into wooden vials. However, once you have the basic building set up in your village and villagers assigned to each of the stations, you can adjust your worker percentages to let them do all of this work for you. So as you're out and about taking care of business, your villagers will be crafting away, producing a stockpile of wooden vials for you to sell. So when you're ready to make that vendor run, hit up your resource storage building and grab all of those wooden vials, head to the vendor, and make that money. So now let's discuss a bonus method for making money early game in Medieval Dynasty, and that is to explore. Selling craftables is a great way to make money early game. However, I believe exploring is even better. Head out into the countryside and keep your eyes peeled for abandoned camps, barrels, sacks, and broken down carts. You can find so much awesome loot by exploring the valley in Medieval Dynasty. You can find advanced tools, weapons, seeds, fertilizer, wine, and luxury items just waiting for a happy explorer to stumble upon. You can keep the items that you need and sell the rest to the vendors. By exploring the valley in Medieval Dynasty, you will have plenty of coin to get you started. So I would highly recommend get out there and explore. Money is an essential resource in Medieval Dynasty. In the beginning, you will need it in order to purchase gear, tools, seeds, fertilizer, and all of the other items necessary to set you up for the later stages of the game. And of course, you will also need that money to pay your taxes. And by selling the items listed in this video, you will quickly earn all the money you need to set yourself up for even better money makers in the future. While the items on this list may not make you rich now, they will lead to the items that can. And of course, you definitely want to get out there and explore the valley. You never know what may be waiting for you on the other side of that hill. Now, if you found this video helpful and or enjoyable, be sure to subscribe to Savin's World so you do not miss a single one of my Medieval Dynasty tutorials. Simply give that subscribe button a click. And speaking of tutorials, click that box in the top right corner of the screen to access the entire playlist of my Medieval Dynasty tutorial videos. But for now, this is Savin saying thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll catch you in the next one.